Good morning, good afternoon, and evening, baseball fans. Welcome back to the Barstool Baseball Show. Welcome back to the Power Rankings panel. It is early Sunday as we record this. I want to say that up front. It is early Sunday. No baseball has been played yet today on Sunday. This is the only time we could record today. Klemmer, you are a big morning guy, though. You're happy. Hubs, everybody looks cheerful. We look like a pile of shit. Shit. We look like Jimmy Dugan from a fucking league of their own.
Yeah, this is rough. And I have one thing to blame. It's hotels with this 11 o'clock checkout time. This didn't used to be a thing. This is new. It's bullshit. My wife knows I'm not a morning person. She even asked for the late checkout today, and she was told, no, the hotel's sold out. But this 11 o'clock checkout time, this has got to go. Hotels have improved so much in the last 20 years. And for some reason, they've taken this hour from us. I don't understand why. Are we becoming more of a morning people as culture? I don't think so. I don't know. 11 o'clock checkout times go away, and that's why we're doing this early today. I blame hotels.
I think it has to do with room service and housekeeping, staffing since COVID.
Maybe. You might be right. I don't know. This didn't used to be this way. I feel like an old man.
We're here early. We're here.
Yeah.
No baseball been played. You're in Baltimore for Mets, Orioles. Some debate before the show started whether it's worth your time to even watch these games or whether you should just go out back and shoot yourself.
Yeah, it's a fair question. You know, the Mets, they've like completely quit, given up.
You're gonna get a tattoo, huh?
Oh, I think I might. Yeah, if they lose 90, I have to get a tattoo with the bet I made with Frank. And right now, they're on pace to lose 90. But the thing I have with this team, though, is like you still have Alonso, Lindor, Nimmo. I know he's washed up at Marte, whatever. But like there are still like three good players in that lineup. No one gives a fuck. This team is mailing it in like a 110 loss team. They don't care about shit. Hopefully, they can reverse that before the season's over and at least string together some wins. But right now, at this moment, on August 6th, this is a dead team walk.
Hubs, vibe check, Astros Yankees series check-in. That was a big talking point on our Friday show. Go listen to it.
Yeah. I said going into the series, you went 3-4, you reel me in this dumb brain, and you convinced me, all right, here we go. And if we do that, we win today. That's 3-4. So I don't know. Like I'm oddly enough excited. Like it's a big Rodon start today. Yeah. We'll see what he's got. I think Urquidy's pitching. I thought this was going to be a Framber game. I think it's Urquidy.
Yeah. It is. Yeah.
I have a thing about the Astros. They'll come up in this power rankings, of course. It's just a question of what they're doing. But yeah, like listen, you win 3-4 against Houston. You got me. So we'll see what happens today at 1 o'clock at Yankee Stadium. By the time you're hearing this, you know what happens. So you know if I'm going to be sad or happy. So I don't, which is scary.
Yeah, and I fucked up in the intro. That's because it's early and the brain's not fluid. Usually I introduce us. It is the panel of experts. It's the full round table. It's the four horsemen. It's Carl, Klemmer, Hubs, and, of course, Castellani. Not necessarily lights camera action if you're watching on YouTube. This isn't the smooth, slick back version. We are getting Castellani. This is Castellani uncut.
This is post-trade deadline, nervous wreck, mad scientist Castellani look that we got going on right here. But no, it should be a good one, man. I think this week in many ways for this show could not have worked out any better with certain teams playing the way they did, both ascending one way and descending the other way. So it should be a pretty fascinating list. I think this is going to be a solid power ranking show. The deeper we get, the easier these lists become, at least for me, because I think with each passing week, you kind of separate the contenders from the pretenders.
I'm going to do something here. I'm going to ask us, before we get to the power rankings, we do have to talk about a topic. Tim Anderson got his fucking shit rocked last night.
A real shame.
I mean, absolutely cold cock, knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
One of the all-time sports knockouts. If I can't recall a better fist to jaw, body to floor sequencing. No. And I'm a Tim Anderson guy. He's a friend of the program. Objectively speaking, though, greatest sports knockout I can remember. Someone tell me otherwise.
I mean,
No, I
dude,
think
they were in boxing stance. It was
Yeah.
boxing stance. Tim Anderson dropped his glove, pounded his chest real quick, and then 3 seconds later was on the ground, having no idea where he was, what sport he was attempting to play. It was insane. The umpire getting out of the way and seemingly like a boxing or UFC guy going like, "All right, go to war." Like it was
Tough
awesome.
look. Tough
It
look
was
for Tim.
incredible. TA, for the amount of shit that guy talks, done. Like he's got nothing to stand on anymore. The amount of his tweets that he tweets sleep, and he had to go back and delete all those tweets
Yeah.
that night. It was something else, man. That was thoroughly entertaining.
I think honestly, Tim Anderson, his legacy as a baseball player will now go the way of Robin Ventura. Well, Robin Ventura had a very good career. Robin Ventura had a 50-something WAR, but when you bring him up, you're like, oh wait, you mean the guy who got put in a headlock by 43-year-old Nolan Ryan? Tim Anderson's got a batting title. He's made multiple All-Star teams, but when he calls it quits, be like, oh dude, J-Ram put him on his ass. You guys remember that? So yeah, rough. But shout out Jose Ramirez. I mean, falling over, blind right hook right to the jaw. That was some impressive shit.
And he doesn't have reach. We've went over this show
He's tiny
before.
guy?
Jose
Yeah.
Ramirez has a physically stunted length of arm, which allows him to hit inside fastballs. Proven fact, he has the shortest reach in Major League Baseball. His arms don't even hang down to like his hips. It's a very funny thing to look at, and he has the reach to get inside. Tim Anderson. Klemmer, what fight from 1936 does that remind you the most of?
Yeah, I can't go back quite that far, but it is really rare to see two guys actually like square up.
Yeah.
Like those guys were both like, let's go. Now, like, you know, back in the 80s, there was a great fight between the Reds and the Mets, like 86, I think it was. It might have been that year. It was right around then, like this like wild fight. Like you used to see more wild fights in the 80s. I'll say that as a kid growing up. I remember you'd see like some crazy shit. You don't see as much anymore, but I can't remember too many times where I saw two men like square up on like in the middle of a baseball diamond like that. Like, let's go. And like you said, the umpire was just like, all right, go get him, boys. Like, I don't recall that too often. I also like watching like what started it. Like, you know, Jose Ramirez slid in head first, second base. Anderson was there. It seemed innocuous, and the next thing I know, those guys just squared up. I don't know what happened.
I think he tagged him with two hands. I think it was an aggressive tag, and it was unnecessarily aggressive. And Ramirez was probably like, "What are you doing that for?" And that's all it takes for Tim. What'd you say to me? Nah, Tim's a good guy. This sucks. I got to get a spin zone ready for him. You know, trip, cheap shot. Not really sure what angle to take. Behind the baseball player, whatever. I know you guys don't like him because he talks a lot of shit, though. He's a fucking nice guy. He's a super nice guy. So this is it's just a bad look all the way around, especially Chicago White Sox. The face of the Chicago White Sox. You're supposed to be tough. That represents a very blue collar part of this country. It's disappointing to say the least. This is the power ranking panel.
By the way, shout out Eloy Jimenez found a way to get hurt in that,
Yes,
in that fight. Wasn't involved in the fight. He's probably the most hurt of anybody. So
Yeah.
shout out him.
What did he hurt?
He came away like limping, as if like someone took a bat to his ankle.
Yeah,
He wasn't involved in the fight. I have no idea how that happened.
I
have to
wonder
set
if
a
there's
batting
two
order.
angry teams. Like obviously the White Sox are angry because it just
Easily.
disappointing. And the Guardians didn't do anything at the deadline. And I wonder, you know, they're kind of flying around. I wonder if these are just two pissed off teams. It's like, you know, early August saying fuck it.
Yeah, well, it's reminiscent to me. I remember the Tigers and Yankees got in a big brawl in 2017. Miguel Cabrera
Austin
tackled
Romine.
Austin Romine at the dish, and that was like the initial kicking off point of the Tigers rebuild. And so they had just traded like JD, a bunch of their really good players, and they were like, "Dude, fuck it, this is not fun anymore. Our manager's about to get fired. We keep getting hit by pitches. Like the Yankees are playing for some fuck it," and they went to blows. Yeah, that's kind of a little bit like that.
Are we ready to power rank some Major League Baseball teams?
Let's
Do
do it.
it.
Let's do it.
We need a batting order.
Yeah, I don't have one. We're
Yeah.
just going in blind.
We are very blind right now. So I'm gonna say we'll go Castellani 1, Hubs 2, Klemmer 3, myself 4.
Okay.
Okay.
Castellani 1, Hubs 2, Klemmer in the 3 hole.
Oh, that works. I like that.
Okay.
Perfect.
Boys, let's kick it off. Let's have a great show. Castellani.
Let's do it. I'll keep it quick, keep it easy. Number one, with a bullet, has not changed, no reason to change. The Atlanta Braves. It really is funny. We didn't talk about them very much at all during our trade deadline stream. And the reason for that is they didn't do a whole lot. And it's pretty rare that you have a team that looks at the assembling of their roster and says, we're complete. We don't need a whole lot of changes. Why rock the boat? Why add new guys from other clubhouses? We trust our offense, and guess what? We're getting Max Fried back. Max Fried came back in Wrigley against Chicago, looked fan-freaking-tastic. If this is the version of the him they're going to get, just give them the pennant right now because they're
That's
not
great point.
Yeah, because you're not going to outslug that offense ever. The only thing you can hope to do is maybe get to their starting pitching. Will Fried looked unstoppable, and you still have Charlie Morton, and you still have Spencer Strider. This is the best team in baseball. They have an offense that is not just capable of beating you, but demoralizing you in a way where it fucks your bullpen for a week. I mean, that's how good and deep they are. So yeah, spectacular team. I would say right now, pending injury, but it seems like they're healthy. They're a durable club. It would be a massive surprise to me if they didn't at least make it to the World Series. If they got there and somebody knocked them off, I could see it. But right now, given the outlook of the National League, this has got to be theirs. They've just had a phenomenal season.
Yeah, the Max Fried stuff is terrifying. To add a player that caliber to this team that's already just beating the shit out of teams is exactly, it's funny. I know we'll talk about them later, but the Rays, the complete opposite direction, right? McClanahan goes in the IL. Yeah. That's a team that really needed something, and then it didn't. McClanahan came back, didn't work out. He's probably out. I imagine he's out for a long time, probably the year. I'm guessing. It didn't look good. And then meanwhile, the Braves get Max Fried, and looks like he's same old Max Fried. And it's the Braves are in this thing where they just cannot do anything wrong. Everything they do just works out for them.
Yeah, we were talking I had mentioned the fuck that the whole league would have had if the Braves went and got an arm at the deadline.
Yes,
they just had it ready to go. That's their fuck is Max Fried. Everyone's just all right, he'll come back and he'll eat. Nope, he's not easing in. He's just Max Fried, and the Braves just got a whole lot better.
Yeah. Now they're different games in their two starts, but Max Fried was absolute filth on Friday. The Cubs went out and smacked Bryce Elder the next day. So just Fried first start back to carve up a lineup that was just red hot.
Yes.
And then completely destroyed all-star Bryce Elder the very next day. He just went right into the Cubs, was just surging. Dunzo. Yep. Now, Ronald Acuna stole his 52nd base of the season this weekend. He also, if you look at their lineup, it goes 25 homers in the leadoff spot, 26 homers in the 2 spot. I think Austin Riley, the 3-hitter, has 26 homers. Matt Olson has 38-ish, something along those lines.
Yeah, Olson
is the quietest 50 home run season of all time, Matt Olson. He's just crushing the ball this year.
Yeah, another guy slept on. Michael Harris has about 1,000 OPS since the beginning of June. He had a rough start to the year where people are like, oh, what's going on here? The beauty of the Braves lineup is you don't have to press. You just get it going. Whenever you get going, the rest of us will still be here for you. He's their 9-hitter, and he's got an OPS over 1,000 over the last 2 months. 2 months. It's crazy how deep and balanced that lineup is.
So when I was growing up, the 61 Yankees had the record for most home runs by a team, 240. That's kind of a magic number for a long time. Steroid era changed all that, obviously. But when I was a little boy, that was it. The Braves already have 211 home runs. Jeez. So, it's just wild. You look at this, and they've played 108 games. So they played, 2/3 of the season. So that means they're on pace for over 300 home runs, which is wild. We're in some weird, wild stuff with some crazy territory.
Yeah, nine positions in a lineup. It's insane. That's 33 homers a guy.
Yeah, Jesus.
That's holy 33 shit. And a .3. Who's number 2?
That'll be me. Pretty standard. I don't know if you can make any reasonable case to put another team here. I guess maybe Klemmer goes crazy with the Rangers because they haven't lost this week, but it's still the Orioles in my opinion. They're 69-42. A win today against his corpse version of the Mets will be 70 for them on August 6th. They had a big series, fresh off of playing the Yankees. That's a little bit of maybe an emotional letdown spot for them would be, they play the Blue Jays in Toronto. Like, it wouldn't stun me if they let up a little bit here. They won 3 or 4 in Toronto.
Yeah.
Got really good starting pitching performances all across the board. Like, Grayson was the worst one, and his was fine. Bradish was really good. The biggest one was Flaherty. Flaherty, he's their deadline piece. We'll see what he's got here. A little bit of a letdown, right? Because they didn't get Dylan Cease. We got Jack Flaherty. He's still an improvement, and I mean, if he pitches the way he did in the series finale, 6 innings, 1 run, 8 Ks against this Blue Jays offense to win the series, go 3 of 4, very impressive. A great sign, for the front office and the whole team. Like, wow, all right, this guy's gonna be here and be producing. And then they'll sweep the Mets today, assumingly, and they'll be on their merry way and then continue to pad that division lead, which is now up to 3 games, 4 in the loss column on Tampa. And they look all the parts of a team that's just going to keep rolling here and going to keep getting better and going to win the American League East. So, yeah, number 2 is the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah, so I have them 4th, and it's not honestly.
It's just an asshole move.
No, I'm not. No. Let me preface this. Relax. Don't be a little bitch. Relax.
You're being a bitch.
I'm not. I'm gonna explain myself. You're not gonna let me explain myself. Now, this is really like a 3-way tie for me. I had a really hard time with this. I was kind of hoping, when I found out I was in the 3 hole, I'm like, ugh. I was kind of hoping you would choose between Astros, Rangers for me, because I have Astros, Rangers, and Orioles kind of all lumped together. Like I really see them. I think the Astros are probably the best team, 1 through 26 of those 3 teams. The Rangers are the hottest, but then the Orioles are the most level. If that makes any sense, maybe, I don't know. I've spent the last 2 nights here at Camden Yards watching the Orioles dissect, dismantle, and dismember my Mets. So I have no problem with the Orioles at 2. I'm not going to argue with you at all, Hubs. I really don't at all. I just see this, and this is interesting. There's a difference between the AL and the NL. I have 3 teams in the AL that are for me, boom, 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 right there. And I have 1 team in the NL and everybody else. So it's going to make an interesting playoffs potentially. We have 3, in my opinion, real juggernauts in the AL. That if any of them went to the pennant, I wouldn't be shocked at all. So I have no issue with the Orioles at number 2. They really impressed the hell out of me the last 2 nights.
I think the way you could say it is that the Orioles, obviously, over the gross part of the season with approaching 70 wins, they've had the more impressive 111 games, first 2/3 of the season. The Rangers are probably hotter for purposes of power ranking right now, who's hottest right now. And the Astros probably have the best World Series odds because of Verlander and Valdez. I think I can break it into those kind of 3 different tranches of who's played the best, who's the hottest, and who's got their World Series odds. And I think it's fair to put it like that, Klemmer. I think it is.
Yeah, but Klemmer, you also can't say
completely fair to criticize, but I don't have a problem with the Orioles at 2. I wouldn't have the only team I'd have a problem with would be the Astros at 2. I don't think the Astros would be able to leapfrog these other guys, but I like the way we're talking about them.
Why though? I'm fighting an argument.
Why?
I 100% believe, but why? The Astros. If the Astros would have played,
I couldn't put the Astros above the Rangers. The Rangers went 5-0 this week. The Rangers are hot.
I think he's saying this week. This week
right now, week 19 power ranking. Boom, Rangers are coming in hot.
I mean, into the Orioles' defense, the Orioles the only team in American League that's on pace for 100 wins. So, that's why another reason why I have no problem with the Orioles at 2 here. These 3 teams to me are so close and for such different reasons.
I also don't get what you're saying where you were impressed with them because you're in Camden Yards, you're in Baltimore. There's nothing you can take out of the series from Baltimore. They're playing a team that is a corpse. And the Mets.
Oh, I disagree. There's something you can take from every game, and there's something you can take from every series. And the way they're doing it so efficiently, I think weaker teams or teams that are they come in kind of half-assed. Oh, we're playing the Mets. This team sucks. They can sweep. No. They're going in there and they are, like I said, dissecting every element of it. They're hitting when they need to. They're pitching when they need to. I love the moves, even Brandon Hop. I love going to whole series because you can really understand how a team operates. And I love all the moves Brandon Hyde's making. They're sitting guys too, Santander sat the first game. Hayes sat yesterday, so they're not even starting. They're playing Colin Cowser, who had a couple of key hits. So even these lower guys on the roster are still playing well. I don't know, man. I take something from every game, like I said, and I really am impressed with how the Orioles are carrying themselves and dealing with kind of these new high expectations.
Series isn't a word. It's just series. And they
Relax.
don't need to play.
9:53 a.m. I'm gonna eat your fucking skull for your Reds pick. Just give me a
Well,
second.
I mean, you wanted to put the Orioles. You wanted to put the Orioles. You wanted to put the Orioles fourth is egregious. And the reason they're playing these guys, like you said, Hayes one day, Cowser one day, is because they're playing the corpse of the Mets. They don't have to play like they're juggernaut.
That's my whole point.
Yeah, they're just having fun out there. So I don't really.
Mad. Like 2 minutes ago, I wasn't. Now you're making me mad. I wasn't even mad 2 minutes ago. I was like,
Listen, I want to clear this up for the audience that we are doing a weekly power ranking show where we come in here and each week we rank who's really hot right now. The concept of someone being wrong about a fucking pick on this, like Klemmer's been group texting us thinking that like, you think we're wrong about the?
Oh, you were wrong. You were
wrong to put the Reds.
You guys
Castellani get this.
I keep track. I'm a vindictive little man. And I swear to God, I know. You guys all laughed at me. Oh, ha, ha, ha. Who's laughing now? I was absolutely right about the Reds thing.
Yeah, it's 1 week of being right and like a lot of being
not
wrong.
1 week. Not 1 week. No, not at all. No, it's actually the fact that I've been right the entire time. I've been saying all along that the Reds are a fraud. You guys
also, there's 2 months left here.
They were in first place. When we did this show, when we do these shows, when we talked about the Reds, it's not like we were saying they're gonna be great. They were great. They were playing great. They earned their way in the list. They're not on
bus rides and this camaraderie. And I'm telling you, that's not
fucking camaraderie.
It's all bullshit. It's a fraud team playing against a weak schedule. And
Hale Morris told you to your face it was true. World Series champion Hale Morris told you to your goddamn face the camaraderie. And believe in each other.
And he laughed at he completely ignored your baseball gods thing. So
the baseball gods exist. It was a two-part question. No. It was a two-part question. He didn't.
For the sake of the show, we have a portion dedicated to this. So let's move.
I was gonna say we're only on number 3
when we're talking about.
I was wondering how long it was going to take.
They'll never come up with this.
You're a fucking bozo. All right, you're a bozo. Keep it quiet over there. We got to do a power ranking panel here. You're all busy getting mad about the Reds, Klemmer. Who's number 3? Klemmer?
Yeah, Klemmer back. Now speak. Yes.
Oh, now I'm allowed to talk again? Yeah. So my number 3 team is going to be the Reds. No, I'm kidding. They're not going to be on this list because it's like I've been saying all along. They're not an actual contender. I'll take the Astros. I'll take the Rangers. Excuse me. That's fine. I'm fine with the Rangers here. I can kind of. I mean. Like I said, I really like. I know I made the point earlier, but I really do see these 3 American League teams as so tied together. I will preface this with I think the Astros are my AL pick. I think the Astros are going to go to the World Series out of these teams. It's playoffs are a crapshoot. Phillies, I thought the Dodgers were going to waltz into the World Series last year. And what happened there? Yeah. But the Astros have set themselves up so well since deadline. Like they completely changed. And then Framber throws a no-hitter this week. Like, it's not like the Astros are ice cold here. But I'll go with the Rangers. Obviously, they made some huge improvements at the deadline. They're on a 5-game winning streak. Their run differential's 164 for the season. The Astros is only 63. Now, obviously, some injuries and some things play into that. But the Rangers are a fantastic team. They've been fantastic all year. We've been consistently talking about the Rangers since we started doing this show. I think on like week 1, I want to say, or week 2, the Rangers popped up. They've been really solid all year, and for a team that lost 90+ games last year, that's really impressive. I like the Rangers a lot. The deadline, like since it happened, has made me even more excited for the playoffs. Like with the Astros improvements and the Rangers improvements, it's like, oh shit! Like, and even the Orioles getting. I know we knocked them a lot for not making enough moves, but they did get better. They did get better. So it's like, all right, wow! Like even more reason to get amped up for this, especially the American League playoffs gonna be awesome.
I'm convinced that the Rangers are there at 3. I don't know if I'm like comfortable. There's another team in the National League. I do really like the Rangers here at 3. And I do really like the Rangers at 2. If someone was going to say Rangers at 2, I'm fine with that too. They've been hot. It's a great lineup. It's a great
and they
team.
got Seager back this week. 3 homers in 4 games. How you doing? No problem.
He does not miss a beat ever. No, it does not matter how much time he misses. Like typically, a guy comes off the IL. There's some sort of learning curve those first few games. It's just this guy rolls out of bed and could hit a home run every game.
Yeah, if they did the
It's crazy.
MVP award and they just like assumed, like they gave Ohtani his own award, being like, "You're an alien, like you get
The
to get
Ohtani
this,"
award?
and like we're gonna do an AL like for every human, like a human award. I wonder where Seager would place because he's missed a ton of time, but his numbers are amazing.
He's missed 41 games already this year.
He does have the highest wins above replacement per game played.
Crazy, man.
He still has 5 wins above replacement in like 70 games or something.
He's so good. And worth noting because the deadline acquisitions this post deadline, Scherzer and Montgomery had pretty solid starts for them in their first tune up with the Rangers. Scherzer had a rough first inning, really settled, and after that, Montgomery was really good. I thought that's a great sign because they need some rotation help big time. And if you get them and then Seager, it's like they had a fucking bonanza at the deadline. So
they're going to need Eovaldi back at full health, though. That'll be, and I'm with you. They at worst are number three on this list to me. Like I think they're where they belong to be. But going forward, yeah, I mean, as good as Scherzer can be, and Montgomery's good as well. The key will be getting Eovaldi there because that makes for a pretty dynamite playoff rotation.
Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm at 4. And I have two teams. And I actually had one team, but then Klemmer started talking up the Astros, so I started considering them. But I don't know if I want to back down from the Dodgers because they're 4-1. I know they lost to the Pirates. But Klemmer rolls his eyes. It's the pitching. I know he's going to go, it's the pitching. But the Astros just got Verlander, and they're better. I know they have a bet. So it's like this is where I have to go back and say, you convinced me during the show because it forces me to think about who has a better outlook, where I can say I think the Dodgers to this point have played a little bit better this week. The Astros could end up losing 3 of 4 in Yankee Stadium.
They did also throw a no-hitter this week. I don't know how much you count that or what that's worth, but I mean, Framber's back, I guess is the point maybe to that, or at least he looked back. Framber and Verlander? I know Verlander...
Don't guys regress after no-hitters?
I don't know about that's true. I have to see numbers on that.
Only perfect games to make a remark.
But, Verlander now, he has an ERA of, 1... Going into yesterday, he has an ERA of, 1.40 or something in his last, 6 starts, something crazy like that. And then he pitched pretty well yesterday. It's weird, though, he's not striking guys out, but he's getting outs.
And that's way more important to him, and he's probably thinking about saving his bullets.
I think so.
If he wants the strikeouts, he'll hunt the strikeouts. But if he can get outs more efficiently, I think that's just part of getting older and knowing what you have left in the tank.
We had him on the ropes, man. We had him over 40 pitches through 2. He shouldn't have saw the 6th inning, and he gets through 7.
That's the Verlander.
Incredible.
That's the Verlander special, though. That is, I have seen Verlander do that in so many starts where it's
against the Yankees alone. Never mind other teams, but he does that.
It's 50 pitches through 2. And you're like, fuck yeah, we're going to chase Verlander out of this thing. And then before you know it, it's 7 innings to earn. I mean, he's the master of that. So,
crazy.
Yeah, he is the best pitcher ever on nights where he doesn't have his best stuff. Because he could have easily gotten popped yesterday, settled in, 2 runs. I know they lost the game. But, I mean, I think in general, if Verlander's going to be going 7 innings to earn every start the rest of the way, the Astros are going to be an incredibly dangerous club. I guess so. You had Dodgers at 4.
Yeah, I did going into this, but then Klemmer gets onto his. I've got 3 American League teams, and he starts talking about the Astros, and I'm thinking about now at the Verlander acquisition. So what got us here? No, but where they're going. And as we kind of get into the close of the season, I want to start putting more weight towards the playoffs and in how I think teams will fare in the playoffs. If it was May and June and stuff, I'm not going to take your October stuff and it's baloney. But as we're kind of getting closer to the end of the season, I want to start weighing that more appropriately. And the other thing I want to stress is an open mind as I come in here. I did want to talk about Bobby Miller and his 101 mile an hour fastballs and how I think that's somebody in October who I think it's more interesting for the Dodgers, but I'm not taking the Dodgers here. I'm taking the Astros in the 4th spot. We are going to put the Astros 4th.
Okay.
We are going to do that. That's the smart, sensible thing to do, and putting some pride behind me, and that's okay.
So the thing I'll say is seeing this team for 3 games so far, going to be 4 today, it's crazy that they continue to hit Jeremy Pena's second. I don't understand it. I'm not going to object to it. He's doing it again today. From my understanding, Astros fans are not happy about this. Jordan's, let's see what he's hitting today. He hit 5th yesterday. It's like, what are you? He's hitting 5th again today. I don't really understand it. Pena has not been good. He's just been what he was last year, which is like a around a 700 OPS. He's worse this year though. He's a strikeout machine. I don't really get what they're like an analytically driven team too. So what is pointing them to putting Pena? I don't get it. As an opponent for them, I'm okay with it. I'm sure today he hits 3 home runs. But
Right.
but like if you look at the game on Saturday, it's like, wow, thank God Jordan's not up here in the 9th inning, with a guy on. Like, this is fine. So yeah, I don't really understand that what's a head scratcher, and I think Astros fans share the same like befuddlement.
I think if you look at his like stat line, you're like, that guy should be batting 7th or 8th.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. No, that's what's weird about the Astros is they have a really good lineup, but their lineup construction is bizarre. Like Chas McCormick
Yeah, why he hit so low?
has been either sat or consistently batting like 7th. To me, it would be as simple as like just switch McCormick and Pena. I mean, if you want Jordan in the middle of the lineup with guys on base, I understand that. Now batting 5th, Jordan got 3 at bats yesterday in a 1-run game. He shouldn't be getting 3 at bats. He should
right.
Yeah. So I mean, it is frustrating for them. I don't know if and when they'll ever change that because that last year, I mean,
probably game 1 of the playoffs, and we'll just be like, fuck. Like that's
right, exactly. Yeah, and they'll figure it out and bat Jordan 2nd, and he'll be mashing. Yeah, so I do think sometimes they have a tendency to get in their own way, but when it matters, because they play down to their competition sometimes.
Yeah,
too,
they're playing also Kessinger a ton over Yanier Diaz,
who's been really good.
Diaz, you're talking about.
Diaz has, yeah.
I don't know why they. I guess they
play your guy, man. I mean, that's just the way it is. He's on the roster. Guys.
These are things that I see frustration, and it's just like, well, they're not doing the things that can make them like optimal. And I'm like, okay, sure.
I mean, this is a good point, and it's a good insight from your perspective of watching the Astros play the Yankees, and you would do things differently. And I would love to hear whoever that decision maker is, or whatever that ultimate decision metric is, from the Astros, someone to shoot us straight and just tell us black and white. Well, this is why we hit Jeremy Pena 2nd, because A, B, C, D, E, F, G, because they have all the reasons why they do it. They're not just making shit up. They are not.
Yeah. Imagine it's just like, yeah, we didn't really care until like October anyway. So like we haven't really put any thought into this. Like why? Why would we? We know we're just gonna get there, and then when we get there, we're gonna be awesome. So like that's when we'll care. Could be.
Yep. So on to me for 5 now.
Castellani is 5th. We're comfortable Astros 4.
Very comfortable Astros 4. What's interesting? Looking at the records, there's a part of me that's like, are we being too hard on the Tampa Bay Rays? Because the Rays got off to such that's incredible start. So I asked myself that question, and the answer is no, we're not. I got the Dodgers here at 5. Because I'm basing it on often kind of the principle that Klemmer has used on here, which is who would you believe has a better shot in a 5 or 7 game series against some of these teams. And ultimately my concerns about the Rays pitching depth, especially when it comes to starting pitching, is very legitimate. Now, I have a lot of concerns about Dodgers pitching depth as well. I mean, I think that they had a trade in place. It fell through, but I really think this is they're really going to have to kind of maneuver and do, bullpen's going to have to be really strong in October because I don't see any of their starting pitchers going particularly deep into games. But this is a regular season-based rankings, and this is an offense that is as explosive as it gets. I mean, Mookie and Freddie Freeman are both – these are 2 Hall of Famers that are having 2 of their best seasons. From a power standpoint, this is the best version of Mookie that we've gotten probably since he won the MVP in 2018. Freeman's been a machine for them. So they're going to find a way to keep winning, and they're now reaching a point where the division is becoming a little bit more comfortable. The Giants have played some really good baseball as of late. So there's not a whole lot to say. It's an explosive offense. They keep winning games. They keep getting it done. They do a good job, I feel like, consistently, and we're talking like a decade now, of avoiding those horrible weeks or horrible months, those 14 and 16 months, where they start sliding. They've been remarkably consistent. I think it's going to stay that way. I got them at 5.
Yeah, I did Dodgers 5 as well. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure them out a little bit. Like their offense is so good. Their starting pitching has been kind of at times lousy. Yeah. Them getting Kershaw back would be huge. I don't know when exactly that's supposed to happen. I'm always worried older guys, especially like him, who's not particularly durable. Like, is he going to come back, or is he going to come back like 2 weeks before the season ends? Like throw like 4 or 5 innings, and then he's going to get knocked around the playoffs. Is that what's going to happen? I don't know, but I'd like to see him back sooner than later. I'm sure everybody would. And obviously, if they got Erod, that would have made the team much better, much better.
Yeah.
But that didn't work out either. So I don't know. The Dodgers is such a weird year for the Dodgers, where I almost feel like this is a bridge year for them in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Maybe they go and get Ohtani or try make an effort. Or there's a lot of starting pitchers, including one of their own, Arias, who's a free agent this year. Maybe they go and spend a ton of money and rebuild that rotation. I don't know, but this has been a strange year for the Dodgers.
Kershaw threw a 4-inning simulated game 3 days ago. He's on track to maybe join them next week. So
okay,
I think it's sooner rather than later for him.
I just would love to see him back before the end of August, and it sounds
that feels like a certainty.
He's going to be rolling. He's going to be ready for October.
If that's the case, that puts them in a great spot, especially like I said with the NL. In my opinion, being weak, having less top tier teams than the AL does. So then you only it's a big worry, but then then it's the Braves. But other than the Braves, I think every other team in the NL has some pretty big flaws, pretty beatable.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It does feel like an NLCS matchup where everyone has talked about the Braves all year long, and then all of a sudden you're going to get the Dodgers there, unless someone else joins the party, and then you're going to see that Dodgers lineup like in the first inning when they introduce everyone. You'll be like, oh,
right.
I would do bad things for an ALCS and an NLCS to come from these top 5 teams.
Yeah.
Bad things.
Yeah.
Oh.
It never works that way in the NLCS, though. It never does.
No.
Well, we're going to get the Marlins.
Cubs. Cubs it is. We get an 0-3 rematch.
Yeah.
As it is, we're still like kind of, I don't say sleeping, but the Phillies are still there too. They could always do another, same thing they did last year and surprise us.
When I say we, I'm talking about the National League. We only submit 86, 87 win teams to the World Series.
Right.
Like, that's the best we're going to do.
We can't do any more. Sorry.
I do have National League pride. Can I just take a pause? Do you guys cheer for the Castellani? Do you cheer for the American League? Castellani, do you cheer for the National League Hubs, American League, and the World Series?
No, fuck
not for
the Red Sox and Astros. I'll root for the Mets over the Red Sox and Astros.
I almost always cheer for the National League. Almost. I'm trying to think if I've never cheered for the Red Sox. I like when the Red Sox win. All right.
Yeah, I guess I don't really. I'm not a big root for your conference. Like it's like that with college too. Like when fucking Wisconsin made it to the Final Four, and people are like, "Are you rooting for the Big Ten?" And
always.
Yeah, I'm not.
Listen,
if
if Iraq came out of the NL and they were playing the Red Sox, I'm choosing Iraq. Like that's how I'm.
Not a surprise at all to hear from you, Hubs.
I mean, the Taliban. Is that what you meant? You mean like them? All right, let's go. Who's number 6?
That'd be me.
No.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can make an argument like they could be dropped further than this, but I don't want to. There is a drop off here. I think there's, in my opinion, I guess 1, 2, 3, 4 is pretty good, and then after 6, there's a difference in level. So the Rays are still here at 6.
Yeah.
McClanahan, we're going to find out more about his injury. He's seeing a specialist on his elbow. That's never a good sentence for your players. They're seeing a specialist about your elbow, especially when you go through how many pitchers they've run through this year. It's insane. I do really worry about the amount of pressure that is now on Glasnow and Eflin to kind of just keep this rotation somewhat together. And I don't even know if it's together at this point, but Glasnow is you got to stay healthy. Otherwise, we don't have pitchers for the postseason if McClanahan doesn't return here. So
they did just get Aaron Savali,
who I don't think that guy's going to put the fear of God in anybody. He's a nice pitcher. He's not a Glasnow McClanahan type opponent. He can go out there, but if I see Savali out there, I can hit him. I can't. And Eflin's fine. And he had a really nice start, but. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on these guys to stay. These remaining guys to stay healthy because if McClanahan's not returning, an elbow specialist, all that doesn't exactly, paint the greatest picture for them. They still took two or three from the Yankees. If they win today, they take 2 or 3 from the Tigers. Before that, they took 2 or 3 from Houston. They're still winning series here.
Right.
They're still got a nice cushion. I know I said a couple weeks ago, wonder if Tampa threatens to fall out of the wild card race altogether. It'd be pretty difficult still. There's 6 up in the loss column on Seattle, who's the 4th team right now. But they're not trending in the right direction. So they gotta pray for some good news in McClanahan.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I completely agree. This Rays team is a mess. And they might be the poster child for peak too soon. Look at how they were in April and May, and then look at them now. They honestly, you know what they're playing themselves into? They're playing themselves into the team that everyone wants to play in the playoffs. It's like, all right, great, we got the Rays. All right. And what a difference compared to what we thought about them in April and May. We were like, I was saying it too. Like they're a juggernaut. They're unbeatable. They're just destroying teams. And now they've just kind of, they're at best they're mediocre the last couple months. You could even say they're worse than that.
Yeah, that's where I'm sorry. I want to just say I don't think we're starting to get to the point where I don't give a fuck about the Tampa Bay Rays because they were good in April. They were historic in April and May. They're making TikToks. The run differential. They're on pace to fucking 450. Right now, if the Rays rolled into Angel Stadium, I'm not fucking saying the Rays are I know the Angels haven't won since they acquired Giolito. That's why I'm using them as an example. Or the Rays versus the Mariners. Is that in a 7-game series? Sure, maybe a slight edge. I don't know. What the fuck?
I don't know.
Man?
Right now, I'd have to
500 since June.
The Mariners, I would say, I would give the edge to the Mariners. If the Mariners played the Rays right now, I'd give the edge to. But like you said, though, the Rays have a huge lead in the play. I would be very surprised. And a lot of teams have to leapfrog over them, so I'd be very surprised to see the Rays out of the playoffs. But if I'm an American League team, I'd be like, all right, let's go. I get to place the Rays.
Yeah, which is crazy because for a while it's been seen as that third wild card spot's the sweet spot to get because you get the Central winner. Now, it actually might be that one the team that's not the Rays in the wild card playing them. That's who you want, not necessarily playing the Central. I mean, playing the Central is kind of a lottery ticket, but the Rays have kind of turned into all right, we're not going to be intimidated by this team. I don't even know half these people on this roster right now.
One scary thing, too, that people might be overlooking about them, we talk about their pitching injuries, and that's fair. Randy Arozarena, 4 for his last 47. I mean, OPS has dropped from 849 to 790 in that stretch. I mean, that is still a ridiculously deep, powerful offense. If one of those guys falls off, and Wander Franco hasn't even good over the last month or so either, as good, then we're talking about some real problems because they've kind of been carried by that offense. If they go to the wayside, they're in deep trouble.
This is a reminder too. One last thing on the Rays. This is a reminder of how bad their ownership is. Because imagine if it was the Dodgers, Yankees, whatever. Pick your big market team or whatever. Pick your Astros even or other teams. If they got off to that great start, started scuffling in the middle of the season, they would have made some big moves. The Rays went out and got Aaron Zavala. It's about it. What the fuck?
Yeah, you would think they'd be head on for Cease or something right here.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, we did the trade deadline show, and how often did the Rays come up among the four of us doing it? We were just we know they're not going to do anything. We'll talk about shit that actually going to happen. How pathetic. And I feel really bad for Rays fans, in that sense. It's they do. They're fans. There are. They actually get pretty good TV ratings. I think the fans are probably older. I'm sure they're not watching this.
Yeah, they can't move to the stadium. They can't actually get to the stadium physically, so they have to turn it on TV.
That's true too. You're not wrong. I lived there for 2 years. That is a disaster.
Tampa?
Yeah, I lived there in 04, 05.
You were in Tampa in 04. You were in the Gruden years?
Yeah. Yep.
What was that?
That bridge, that's not a joke. Crossing that bridge is a disaster. What a pain in the ass. Yeah, it sucks.
Okay, I want to know more about the Tampa years. Start thinking of the stories you want to get going.
A lot of drinking.
Tampa Klemmer is great.
A lot of strip clubs. A lot of strip clubs.
I'm not a big strip club guy.
Neither am I, but there are.
I drank a ton. I was miserable basically the entire time I was there. My best friend is still out there. I went there with him. But yeah, a lot of sadness. 2 years of sadness for me.
All right, let's cheer up, boys. Stu Sternberg. That
guy.
Sternberg stinks.
All right, number 7, Klemmer. Back to you.
Okay. So this is tough, and this is now we're in almost the Rays are in their own bracket in a weird way, and then it's everybody else.
Deep drop.
I have the Blue Jays here.
Same.
I know and Hubs and I we say it every week. Hubs and I have this argument every day at the office. Hubs is right about this. He's been right the entire time I've worked there. That the Blue Jays are just like this fraud team. That I look at their roster and my brain is like, this team has to be good, and I do think they'll make the playoffs. I wouldn't want to face them in the playoffs. But the same token, there's this little voice, the Hubs voice inside my head, which is a sad voice. It's a voice I hate.
Should
But it
never
does
have my
say-
voice in your head. Never.
It's awful. And it's like, yeah, the horrible Hubs voice. And he's like, they're not for real. They're not for real. They're not for real. And but I think I have to put them seventh here. They've won 6 of the last 10. They are on pace for 90 wins. They have incredible talent in this roster. Assuming Bo Bichette's back, he's on the IL. And, they first are like, all right, they go and get Paul DeJong. Then they say, oh, he's fine, but we're going to put him in the IL anyway, which is always a lie. Yeah. So assuming he comes back, this team is dangerous in the playoffs. But I say that every year, and every year they're not dangerous at all. So I don't know.
They are, to me, the most frustrating team in the sport of baseball because, Hubs, you brought it up last week that this was a big week for them. You have a 4-game set at home against Baltimore. Then you have a 3-game set on the road against Boston. They proceeded to shit down their leg in that 4-game set at Baltimore. I mean, they lost 3 out of 4. If not for just an error and hit by pitch riddled inning, they would have ended up getting swept at home in that series. Like, that's the kind of series that you lose. And nationally, you take a step back and you look and say, yeah, you know what, that team, I just don't know if they have it. But they'll, the 6 out of 10, they've lost the big games, but they keep beating the teams they're supposed to be beating. And ultimately, I can't give up on them because I could easily see them being this year.
I can't make fun of anybody's Wi-Fi today because my Wi-Fi sucks in the hotel. So
is my
it's a pass for me?
Is mine shitty right now?
Yep.
Well
I'm
said.
with you. Well said.
Yeah, they're a frustrating bunch, man. I don't know how much. I was just
Hold
gonna
on
keep
a
going.
second. It's a great moment for the show. It's a great moment for the show because Castellani he's not in on the joke. He doesn't know that we do this every time it happens.
Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do.
So are you mad at your internet or are you mad at us?
Yeah, of course. No, I'm not mad at you, dude. If somebody else on this show had an internet that was run by a fucking hamster on a wheel, I'd throw my laptop across the room. So no, I'm not mad at you guys. Not at all.
I tried to just keep it going.
we just nod and smile. None of this is getting edited out. But everything you said though, Chris, I do believe was true and valid.
It was. It was
Or it was complete bullshit. One of the two. It's one of the two, though.
No, the Blue Jays are a frustrating team that I could see being this year's Phillies. Is the point? Is that you get into October and all their hitters start mashing home runs, all their pitchers start pitching really well, but they are inconsistent as fuck. And I feel like they're not as good as they should be, but they're still a really dangerous ball club.
Yeah. Congrats to the Red Sox. You managed to make Alek Manoah almost clear 7 innings in a start.
You've also made a great manager like Alex Cora completely lost. That poor guy. That clubhouse is in shambles. What's going on?
I guess let's take the moment. Yeah, I actually had brought them up at the end of the show because they were playing good. They were playing up until basically we recorded last week. I think they had the second best winning percentage over the last 45 games, only behind the Braves. They were Cassis was hitting the shit out of the ball, Yoshida, all this. I know we're talking about the Blue Jays here, but they have completely taken a nosedive here out of nowhere. And Cora called yesterday one of the worst days he's had as a manager of the Red Sox. And, they say Verdugo is 2 hours. He only showed up 2 hours before the game. I think there's more to that. And I think, Klemmer, and more to you were saying, I don't know if Cora has the clubhouse right now.
Verdugo's a punk. Come on.
He is. Verdugo is a bad person.
Punk. The word's punk. It's because punk is light. Bad person's heavy stuff. He's young. He's athletic. He's a professional athlete. He's punky.
I don't like the word punk either. I don't know. Verdugo, maybe he's not a bad person. Maybe he was a little strong there, but he's definitely something's not. I mean, think about that videotape incident that happened a few years ago where videotaped these girls fighting. There was that whole thing. There's been a number of things with Verdugo, and you're like, what's going on with this guy?
Yeah, I don't know. They tried to trade him at the deadline. Bloom definitely floated his name out there. No one, I guess, wanted him. They didn't offer enough. But I don't know if that is trickling over. Because that happened with Glaber last year or something, where you're almost traded and it just throws your brain in a blender. But yeah, there's something weird going on there, and the Blue Jays took advantage of them. And I just don't take too much out of this series. So I'm really disheartened by how Toronto showed up in that Baltimore series at home. A chance to really get going here, and you lose 3 or 4, and like Castellani said, you almost got swept. Ryu made his season debut in that series. He didn't look all too good. I'm not too big of a fan. I'm not intimidated too much by him in big moments. And yeah, I don't know. I guess 7's fine for them. They have a ton of potential to keep, to really get going. And they still have a decent lead in the wild card. Actually, it's down to 2 with the Mariners.
Yeah, no, they're hot. They had a good week.
Mariners are playing well.
They're
Mariners
hot.
are
We
playing
don't-
well.
Mariners. I didn't realize it was down
the
to
Blue Jays
2
at
in the
8.
loss column. But yeah, it was 7, right?
Yeah.
Yep, that was
Okay, 7. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I like it. It's a good pick. They're almost in their own category, their own underneath the Rays.
Yeah. Who is 8?
I'm 8, but we're
Carl's
comfortable with Blue. Okay, I'm going to take.
Yeah, that's fine.
Man, there's a couple National League teams to play with here.
There are.
Yeah.
And people probably expect me to take the Cubs. I'm not. I'm taking the Phillies.
You taking the Phillies?
That was my pick as well. Yeah, it was
Yes,
my
I have the Phillies 8.
That's what I have too.
Same.
Okay, I do not have the Cubs at 8. I'm not moving the Cubs up this week. I know a lot of people probably want me to do that. I'm not doing that. I'm still hold. I'm like Mel Gibson in Braveheart, pulling the sticks up on the charging horses. It's a bloody scene. No animals were hurt in the filming of that. But I'm just there. Hold steady. Hold steady on the Cubs. I like the Phillies.
Well, the Cubs are winning that division, Carl. Do you acknowledge that now? Can we always acknowledge that I was right about this, or are we not doing that yet?
I'm not there
I said
yet.
the Cubs could trade their best player and still win that division. So don't fucking come at me about whether or not the Cubs could win the NL Central.
Come on, Carl. No, come on, guys. A little I'm sorry.
No,
Chris.
I was with you when you put him ahead of everybody, but I will say yes. You were mad last week. You want to talk about the Reds. Are we jumping ahead of that? Talk about the Phillies. We can suck your dick just because I brought the Cubs up.
It'd be nice. It'd be
The
nice
Cubs-
a little bit.
I think the Cubs should be 9. I don't think we should take the Cubs off the list after they go 3 or 4 against Cincinnati at home, spank them, hitting 50 fucking runs, and now they have a chance to take a series from the Braves today. They could get smacked again. They did get smacked on Friday. They came out and played well on Saturday, so I do like that a lot about the Cubs. But I still don't have them above the Phillies. The Phillies have a better roster.
All right, let's talk Phillies. I agree, Carl. Exactly those reasons. The Phillies have a better roster. I have them at 8 as well. The Phillies are kind of like the National League Blue Jays for me this season. I expect them to be better. But then again, unlike the Blue Jays, the Phillies went to the fucking World Series last year. So, but yeah, this is like a team that I just look at their roster and I'm like, wow, this team needs to be better. And they're not even on pace. What are they on pace for? 89, 88 wins. And it's like, if you told me that roster would only, and Wheeler and Nola would be healthy all year, and they'd only have 88 wins, I'd be like, are you crazy? But that's where we are. But then again, you can't sleep on this team in the playoffs. We saw what happened last year. So, I don't know. I also just love that depth they have in that rotation. Getting Lorenzen
Good pickup.
makes a big difference.
Yeah,
He looked great in his debut.
That sets them up really well for the next 2 months.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't, if someone gets hurt, they can slot someone right in with Christopher Sanchez sitting right there. So I like the Phillies a lot.
Shout out Phillies fans, known as a very hostile, raucous bunch, using the power of friendship here to get Trey Turner going, giving him like a standing ovation, like a sympathy standing ovation, be like, hey, you know what? You're going to be here for a while. We're rallying around you. You're better than this. And he's had a nice few games here and a really nice Saturday with a home run and all this. And it's standing ovation, curtain call. Like, all right, power friendship from the Philly fans getting Trey Turner going. If they get him going, that changes
Klemmer, any regrets you didn't give Lindor a standing ovation this year? You guys did do more for the Mets?
All kidding aside, I think Mets fans have been way too nice with this team, including myself probably. Like we hasn't been too many boos at Citi Field this year, and this team deserves it. Maybe we'll see some shit in August and September, but I will say the Mets fans have kind of coddled this roster.
Interesting.
If you buy a ticket for Mets games moving forward, it should be to strictly boo. Like that shouldn't. You're not watching the team play at Citi Field. You're not gonna, you're buying
crazy.
a ticket. You're buying a ticket to boo the Mets. Like in my opinion, like I don't know why else you would be going.
Yeah.
You're a crazy person because I think Hubs would actually do that. Like in your world, you would buy a ticket to boo somebody. Like you would go to a Knicks game to boo.
I don't know if I would because with how the Yankees are playing to this week, like I wasn't going to go to the stadium the rest if they didn't turn it around. Like I have no interest in going there to boo. I'll just watch at home. So I'm not exactly like that.
Okay. 1 through 8. Let's go through this before we get to 9. 1 through 8. Or do we just want to say? Do we agree?
I'm fine with the Phillies at 8.
Yeah,
I do think you can make
my
an
next
argument.
follow-up question is like, then the Cubs were 9 last week. Is there anybody
Right. So the Giants could easily be in the conversation here. Like the Giants are sneaky, like not dead in the West. Never mind the wild card, like firmly in the wild card right now. Giants just like, and you know what's crazy is I watch them and I'm not like overly impressed by like, maybe it's just the random games I'm watching them, but then you look at all their numbers and their stats and it's just like they're here and then they've been here for a while. It's just like very.
They go out and just win games.
Yeah.
And they win a lot of like 5-3 games, like 4-2 games. Like it's not sexy wins at all. They're not a sexy roster.
No.
But they're efficient as hell.
They have
go out there and they have a really deep roster, and if they have injuries, they can kind of just flip guys in there. I love their like 1 through 26 because even like I bet they have the best like 20 through 26 in the majors, if that makes any sense. Like I think their depth is super strong.
And a really, really good bullpen. They're capable of shortening games as well. And they have at least 2 really good starters in Webb and Cobb. That was my number 9. That's who I have at 9. I know it's probably going to look a bit bizarre that, the Cubs had a really good week. They go from 9 to off the list. But ultimately, we're talking about a team that's 11. We're talking about a team that's 11 games.
See, I totally disagree with him here.
Yeah, you would have had Cubs or?
No, I'm just fucking when the internet went out.
Oh, okay.
That's great.
It's eat that water bottle. It was a good point. Whatever.
The Giants are 9. They played fantastic. They're not completely out of that divisional race either. I mean, they're only 3 games back.
No.
And, they have their system. They go through. They're true to form with that system. Really good pitching, deep roster. They're going to platoon guys. They're going to pinch hit guys, but they're also going to win a lot of games. They've had a nice bounce back from last year's disappointing campaign. I don't really see them going anywhere. I mean, it seems like there's a really good kind of sense. There's a really good connection there within that organization. Seems like everyone's always on the same page. It's been that way since they were winning World Series in the early 2010s. Good roster.
Let me ask you guys this. Let me ask you, who do you think in their offensive lineup has a 900 OPS?
Wait, let me think about this. Does anybody?
A 900 OPS on
900 OPS in their lineup.
Estrada.
The catcher, Bailey?
No, Bailey has sub 700, if I'm reading this correctly. Yeah, sub 700. But he's great defensively.
It's not Yastrzemski. It's not Brandon Crawford.
This is a fun question.
I just looked it up, so I'm not going to answer.
Is it Wade?
It's not. He has the highest WAR on the team, though. He's 822. He's having a fantastic time there. He's nice.
It's not Aubrey Huff.
It's not Aubrey Huff.
Who is it?
It's Wilmer Flores.
Oh, old friend.
Wilmer
surprisingly has like his history of OPS pluses are all north of 120.
Yeah.
Dude, Wilmer Flores is hitting 308 with a 906 OPS for them in 80 games. Like, what the fuck is happening here?
Has anybody been to a game there?
I have.
Oh, I want to so bad.
It's supposed to take your breath. It's supposed to be amazing. Like,
yeah,
the upper deck there is supposed to be fucking awesome.
I sat in the upper deck. It wasn't not like the top, but I went for a day game. I went for a night game as well. I used to date a girl out there. And I will say the one thing, it's so fucking cold, but it's beautiful. It is. And in the summer, it gets cold because it's so by the bay. But man, that is a park to cross off your bucket list. Wilmer Flores has a 145 OPS plus. Like,
incredible.
Crazy.
Yeah, I do. Okay, so I know we're going to talk about this Giants roster itself, but
did we just convince ourselves that they're 9?
Well, over the Cubs? I have one negative thing about them.
Here's the problem. I don't like, and I don't want to argue too hard for the Cubs. The Cubs could take a series from the Braves.
Yeah,
they would have taken a series.
And it would be tough to leave them off if they did that. Yep. Yeah.
And so that happens later today.
So here's my negative fact on the Giants. Their run differential is very bad. It's only plus 26.
That's not very bad. That's not very bad. There are 60 win teams in baseball.
I'm sorry, very bad. I'm sorry, very bad for a top 9 team. I should preface that.
What's their record in one-run games? I bet it's exceptional.
I'm putting them in I mean very bad for being an elite team. Excuse me. The Cubs, meanwhile, plus 73. I mean,
I think we go Cubs. They've been playing good baseball. They did their job and took they took it to the Reds. And if they take the Braves for 2 of 3 at Wrigley, and we leave them off the 9, I
We're
think
the
we all
worst
get
people in the
killed. I
world.
think we get
Yeah,
killed.
We're dumb.
Not like killed internetly. I think people come to our places and kill us. So I think we have to go Cubs 9.
This is
But
a
I
huge
said
game for
this
the
off the
Cubs.
top. That's why I said we're doing this first thing in the morning
Yeah.
because this, or else there's
Yeah.
no panel this week. Like that's
Right.
just the reality. Like there's no panel. We have to do the panel. We're doing our best. So
Right.
it's going into this to say, if the Cubs come out and win, they play a close game, then we're fucked. You know, we got.
I don't think
can't
there's gonna be
take
many
the Cubs
people-
off, and they
yeah.
smashed the Cubs. Hung 36 runs in 2 games against the Reds. They killed the Reds. I know we don't
Right.
think the Reds are very good.
I also don't think there, and not that like we do this. We're saying teams for the perception of how people are going to take it, but I don't think there's many Giants fans killing us leaving off the top 9. Whereas it would make if the Cubs win today and they take 2 of 3 from Atlanta, fresh off his
people are
Red
going to want to
series.
see him 6.
Right. So yeah, right. People will think 9 is too low. Like they should be 8 over.
Who cares what they say? I don't care about that.
No, but I'm like, but like that. If we knew already that the Cubs won today, like we would have them at like probably 8. Like so, we got to put them 9.
I'm fine with either the Cubs or Giants. I don't care.
I want the
I'm not
Cubs
gonna
here.
argue.
I want the Cubs
Yeah.
here.
Let's go Cubs.
Okay.
I'm going to clip that up. So I have a clip of Hubs going, let's go Cubs.
I don't mind the Cubs. I mean,
I know, it's like a nice
man.
little rally clip. Like, that'll be a good little rally
I don't
clip
know if
right
you
there.
reached out to the Sockman yet, but I mean, he's a stoolie and he's great, and like he's been playing good ball for you. Like I like Mike Talk, but I root for the Cubs.
Talkman's from Fremd High School. He's a suburban Chicago
Yes,
guy.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
we like him. It's an interesting roster. It's an interesting roster of above average players.
So
You know,
no,
and
so
again-
I get to receive any apologies from you guys about the Reds thing. I am on that because
For right
Sorry,
now-
the Reds are playing poorly right now.
Reds had a train. They absolutely shit themselves when I wanted them. Their pitching imploded exactly how you said. There are
You
2
were
months
right,
to go
Klemmer.
here. I think this can still go either way, but it's not trending in my direction. I'll say that.
Ellie De La Cruz has a gaping hole in his swing. It falls off a table. I went
I don't
to a
like
Cubs
that.
Reds game with a buddy of mine who pitched in the big leagues for about I don't want to say 5 years, if it was actually 3.5, but he knows a lot, and it was interesting to sit with him and say, what would you throw him? And he was like, oh, well, I've seen Ellie for a second, and after like the first plate appearance, he was like, all right, this is exactly what you do. Anything hip high that can bury itself on his back foot, anything with downward action, he's just going to swing right over it. And you see multiple times, like he cannot recognize big league spin. He can't. He can hit fastballs. He can hit stuff over the plate, but he cannot see spin. So if you have 3 pitches, you can make Ellie De La Cruz your little bitch right now. And they don't even have to be 3 amazing pitches. You just have to have 3 big league pitches. If you could throw a fastball, change up, and something with a little bit of spin on it, he's fucking cooked.
his on base percentage since the All-Star break is .253. Like, baseball teams are smart. Like they'll, it doesn't take much. Give me, 25 games, and if we have videotape and all these bright guys working on this, they're gonna find your holes. You'll find your weaknesses really quick. And De La Cruz is kind of going through it right now. He's obviously really talented. He'll figure it out. But will he figure it out before the end of this year? I don't know. We'll see how fast he can learn on the fly here. But I'm sure he's going to be an awesome player. I'm not saying this player is not going to have a great career. I believe he will. He's so talented.
No,
but
the adjustment you're talking about would be a hard adjustment for him to make before October starts to carry in October. Now he could level out and get better. He's very much slumping right now. He will improve steadily, but there's an adjustment phase. He's got to adjust to what the league's doing to him. Then the league's going to make their adjustments back, and that's it. And then they play baseball against each other for the rest of his career. But you have to get through into this moment of who the fuck is this guy? This is how we're going to pitch to you, and then that's how he learns what big league pitching is. You really do have to suck at this game.
Like Willie Mays went through this.
Everybody goes through it
Mike
except
Schmidt.
for Bo Bichette.
Yeah, right. Like you go through the list, and there's a number of guys who have gone through this. So he's not Hall of Famers who have gone through this. So he's not. He'll be fine. He's so talented. But for the rest of this year, and this is a big reason why I kept saying the Reds aren't for real, is because you can't have that many young guys because they'll work it out, and then also the pitching staff just couldn't hold up, and it didn't. I think this Reds team is much more at risk of going under 500 for this season than making the playoffs. I'm sure we probably can all potentially agree on that.
I will say, like the Cubs look great. The Brewers, equally look just as bad, I feel like, as the Cubs right now. Like the Brewers have had a very bad week. Like they're not convincing anybody that they are a legit team right now. At least to me. Like
They're average. They are what they are. They're a 500 team.
yeah. But I'm
They're-
saying like
they're
they
9
have
games above 500.
It's because they have a great manager.
Thank you.
That's why. Like they have like and pitching. I would rather have like really good B+ pitching than B+ hitting. You know what I mean? Like if that makes any sense. Like they have the strengths in the right areas. They can keep them in games, and they have a great manager. But that team is not that good. I mean,
Yeah.
the only reason I was like high in the Brewers is because like them and the Reds. The Brewers will finish with a better record than the Reds.
that equation though, like that they've been using for years, is the B+ pitching over the B+ hitting. It's gotten them nowhere. They get to the playoffs and they score one run in a series. Like they got to change. And Yelich, it's disappointing too because Yelich just had a really like nice resurgent year.
Yep.
They've gotten some good production from their young players, and it's just like
Sal Frelick?
yeah, Sal's great. Sal's nice, but they've gotten they just don't have it. I don't know what that means. You know?
No. If they make the playoffs, they'll be like you said, the lottery ticket. You know,
Right.
Castellani, how we doing?
Fine, just making sure I don't cut out again. No, in general, I agree with everything you guys are saying. I guess
that's why I like having him on this show. That's the reason why we have Chris Castellani on this show.
I like the Brewers a little bit more than you guys do, but I think that when we're talking about these rankings, it's very clear one team is trending upwards. And also, the issue I have with the Brewers is every time you think, here comes the moment they run away with the division, the pitching's starting to turn around, they're getting healthy, they'll drop a series or they'll play like they did against the Nationals. And I think that's why they've been so inconsistent in October as well constructed as they can be, as good of a manager as they have. It's talent that matters by the time you get to the postseason. And offensively, I just don't think that there's enough pieces there to carry them through a playoff series. Could I see them back on this list at some point in the future? Yeah, I could, because I've seen them get hot before. But it's their issue, which is that they're good, but they're rarely ever dangerous.
Well said.
Thank you.
I like Sal Frelick getting dangerous. I do like him. I like Sal Frelick a lot. This is Barstool Baseball. This is the 1 through 9. I'm going to go through it. Braves 1, Orioles 2, Rangers 3, Astros 4, Dodgers 5, Rays 6, Blue Jays 7, Phillies 8, Cubs 9. Cold turkey. Didn't even write it down, guys. Feels good. That's a good 1 through 9. That is a very good 1 through 9. And we have a big day of baseball in front of us. To the audience, thank you guys for tuning in. And thanks for letting us record this early Sunday morning so we can get you a panel. We wouldn't do it otherwise. We'll be back next Sunday or next Monday. We'll be out on Wednesday and Friday, obviously, but the panel will be back next Monday. Tune in. Until then, this is Barstool Baseball Show.